So today we'll be given two problems, and for the first problem we're given arc sine parentheses sine 4 pi and over 3. So the first thing we do is that we start from the inside. So first we have to find the sine of 4 pi over 3. And then we know that 4 pi over 3, if we put that into degrees, it would be equal to, if we put that into degrees, pi's cancel out, that would be equal to 240 degrees. And then if we just graph that real quick on the circle, we can see that the 240 degrees is exactly around here. And then at 240 degrees, the coordinates are negative 1/2 and negative square root 3 over 2. And then we have to find the sine of it. So the sine of here would be the y coordinate here, which would be equal to negative square root 3 over 2. So since we found this one, we insert it right here. And then the second part of it is to find the arc sine of negative square root 3 over 2. And then in order to find that part, we just have to use our reference table. So since I did this ahead of time, the reference table for here, we're trying to find the sine of square root 3 over 2. So we use the sine, which is square root 3 over 2, which is equal to pi over 3. And since this is a negative, we bring the negative down, which is equal to pi 3 and negative. And then that's the answer for the first problem. So altogether, the arc sine parentheses sine to the 4 pi over 3 is equal to negative pi over 3. And for the second problem, we're given the inverse of cosine to the cosine of 3 pi over 2. So first, again, we start from the inside. So first thing we do would be we would have to find the cosine of 3 pi over 2. So first of all, 3 pi over 2, that's an infamous fraction for one of the most main points, which would be 270 degrees. So if we do a quick circle sketch here, this would be where 270 degrees would be. It would be here, basically. And that would be around 0, -1, and then we would have to find the cosine. So cosine would be the x coordinate, so meaning that this right here, the cosine of 3 pi over 2 would be equal to 0. And then since we're given this part, we can substitute it back onto this part here. So we use the inverse of cosine to the 0 is equal to 1. So, and then we can also use the circle again, but this time of the inverse circle, meaning that there are limitations. And then in the inverse of cosine, the circle, the limitations are on the bottom, meaning that nothing in here should be the answer. And then if we just put the points here, 0, this one would be 0, 1. We would have to find what's the cosine, or when x is equal to 0. And x is equal to 0, obviously right here. And then over here is where it's pi over 2. So therefore, the answer for this whole equation would be pi over 2. Simple.